for today's project, we are working on installing contour buddies to the FD1s. They're FD1 35s. Mine is a 2019, Dad's is a 2020, but otherwise they're pretty much identical. They have a couple minor differences, but nothing of note. The point of these contour buddies is that we should be able to, as long as our stubble height ranges from 2 inches to 10 inches, which should cover most of what we're doing. You know, maybe if we had some really tall canola, we might not use it. But the idea is that you can run your flex header in full flex and float mode so that it'll contour the ground as you're going into a valley or up, or you'll have some flex on your wings as well if you're hitting some undulations and whatnot, and you're going to keep a constant stubble height, and that should mean that, you know, your trash distribution will be much better. And on the flip side, it should be a lot easier on the operators. We always use the return to height, but like I said, if you're getting to be on something that's a bit tippy side to side, or you're going into some hills, you got to be pretty on the ball. These should contour a lot better. Hopefully, that's what they're supposed to do. And you know, they're not going to eliminate harrowing, but they're going to make harrowing a lot nicer of a job. And hopefully, you know, we're not going to end up picking up rocks because of it, or we're not going to be busting knife sections all day long, or this, that, the other. So I'm going to get to unloading this and this and that. What's the story?
It's the first piece, I guess. I guess these are both the same, right?
I would guess the center ones are the same, and I would guess the outers are just mirrors.
It shows this piece is installing. I don't know if that's the next step.
No, well, maybe, yeah.
Attach inward arm assembly to the left head of the
So that guy.
inch and a half bolts.
It appears we'll go right here, I think. Stay tuned. It's just 2 bolts that hold it on?
Yeah, so that goes up inside the frame, that end.
Oh, okay.
And this one goes up, and there's a...
And so then when we're in flex mode, we just pull these pins and take the wheels off then? Like when we're...
Or whether they'll crank up high enough that they won't...
Well, no, I know everybody says on, when you're like shaving the ground, you have to take those center ones off and raise the outsides. So.
Must not be any bolts somewhere.
It's on the deck of your truck.
Yeah, it just goes in, and then there's a hole in the frame there, and the bolt comes down from the top and goes in that.
So it'd be on the underside of the canvas kind of thing? Or inside that? Oh, okay.
It goes in
Oh, up back here.
Yeah, like it goes, that other piece goes
Hooks
up
in there.
and then this goes up, and there's a...
Yeah,
so
okay.
about 1.5 inches. Let's come down through that
Yeah.
hole there. I guess there's room. It's not very long, I guess.
Yeah.
Down through there.
That seems straightforward enough.
Inboard arm assembly underneath the left header leg on the outboard side of the left flex frame hinge beak.
Yeah. So this is the flex point.
That's the hinge point there. So yeah, so it goes in here and then.
So we gotta yank this plate.
So winch pin and rod for left outboard skid plate. Retain winch pin and rod for rear skid.
Say?
It says 2020 and later have pre-drilled mounting holes.
Oh, lucky you, because mine's a 19. So, overall, installing your own contour buddies is really, really straightforward. At least this is on the FD1 series. So, the MacDon book says it could take 3 hours to do. Probably took us an hour of actual work. There was a couple things we were just double checking, and we were putting up and down just to see how things would work, and just for our own knowing. Like this, we changed the plate underneath a few times just to see, okay, well, in float, yeah, we could do that. It's not going to be that bad. We were just playing around to make sure that we weren't screwing ourselves for when we were busy. We left it kind of in between. We put it in transport mode, but we put it in essentially what we're expecting to need to use for the serials. Now, those can get lifted up as well as this can get lifted, or that's maxed out for float, so I'm not really worried about it for now. We put it in transport mode so that if for some reason we decided to hook on and move this guy 100 feet away, we didn't cause any grief. So you'll have to drill 4 holes. Now, even if we had to drill 4 holes with dull bits, I can't see this taking us 3 hours to do. Really simple, really straightforward, good instructions. This guy was just kind of awkward with getting you have to install this to raise make sure you got clearance to crank that guy around. So it just raises your lights a little bit. It was just really short. I had to start unbuckling and cutting off zip ties. As far as using the contour buddies, well, I think all of us are just going to have to wait and see. Okay, so we did the contour buddies yesterday on my FD1, which is a 2019, and it did not have the holes drilled. There's some measurements in the book, but they're from the bottom and they're from the inside, and I just matched up the holes from Dad's and they worked out really well. Dad's is the 2020 that has holes drilled for it. So here are my measurements. Here's my center line, if you can see it. 1 7/16 over. And then I, top and bottom and just made a line. From the top down, there's a nice clean line there. At least on mine there is. Go 7 3/4, and then 16 1/16. And then, I drilled them in 3 stages. You just got to make sure. I could have done it in 2 probably, but I didn't want to end up getting too big of a bite and shooting in and damaging my belt. So I think I did 1/4 inch 3/8. Ooh, mosquitoes. 1/4 inch 3/8 and then 1/2 inch. And they fit perfectly. So that's all you got to do. Again, does not take an hour. I shouldn't say again. All in all, including the drilling, doesn't take an hour to do these. Book says 3. So, pretty easy job to do. So the quick answer, if you're going to put your own contour buddies on, they're very easy. The manual says 3 hours. Dad and I did it, not pushing ourselves at all, doing a lot of double checking orientation, playing with it a little bit to see what things you're going to do. And it took us like an hour and 15 minutes. If we were really going at it, probably 45 minutes, despite the manual saying 3. Things are a bit heavy and awkward. Make sure you have 2 people. It would not be a lot of fun doing it with one at all. Other than that, it's very straightforward, very good manual. Yeah, recommend it.